The movie begins in the occult barn, where young Casper's dad warns him not to touch anything as he walks out. Casper walks to a shelf and places a ladder on it. He tries to touch a strange-looking urn, and it slips off the shelf. Casper's dad catches the urn before it hits the ground, and he informs Casper that it's a very dangerous item. He tries putting the urn back on the shelf but slips and falls, dying in the process. Casper wakes up from a nightmare in his room. He answers a phone call from his granddad Horace and is asked to watch over the occult barn as he's out of town to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award for being a member of their society. Casper refuses and lies that he's participating in a football game. Casper meets his mom Beverly, informs her about Horace's request, and says he hasn't been in the barn since his dad's death. She cheers him up, and he gets on his bike and goes to school. Casper arrives late for class and meets his friend Becky, who teases him for being unable to talk to his crush Charlotte. Professor Duffy informs Casper that he'll fail the course if he doesn't submit his assignment the next day. Becky and Casper leave the building and meet Seth, an enthusiastic mug trader. He sells a mug to Becky's boyfriend and gives Becky a flower. The friends walk together, and Dazzle throws a football at Casper. They talk for a moment, and Dazzle suggests they get bagels, but Casper says he has something else to do. Later, Casper rides to the occult barn and walks in for the first time in over a decade. He meets Horace and informs him that he's interested in watching the shop as he goes to receive his award. Horace gets very happy and tells Casper the rules about the store. He warns Casper not to let anyone get close to the urn. Horace also tells Casper a story of how his great-granddad Gilbert eliminated evil spirits and trapped the evilest spirit in the urn. He then packs some of his bags, gives the keys to Casper, and rushes out of the building. Charlotte and Lucy walk into the occult barn and startle Casper. Charlotte informs him that she comes to the barn but has never seen him working with Horace. As they talk, Dazzle, Seth, and Becky walk in and see Casper and the others. Seth tries to buy the urn, but Casper refuses to sell it. Patrick walks in, and Charlotte requests to see the urn. Casper tries to refuse but is compelled to take it off the shelf because he tries to impress Charlotte. Casper holds the urn, and as Charlotte touches it, it falls and breaks. As it breaks, the lights go out, and Casper screams that they've been cursed. The others don't take him seriously and joke about funny scenarios of how they are cursed. They say that anyone they look at will eliminate themselves and turn into a Zeman, a combination of a zombie and a demon. They also add that the Zemans will want to give them hickeys instead of eating their brains, and once they get bitten, they turn into Zemans. Lucy also adds that they can control the zombies by giving them a French kiss. They all decide that the curse will begin by 10 p.m. and that if they don't reverse it by sunrise, they'll remain cursed for all eternity. After agreeing to the rules, the light turns on, and Casper freaks out. He asks the others to leave, and Charlotte thanks him for letting her see the urn. As they leave, Casper tries to fix the urn and places it on the shelf. He rushes back to his home and panics around his mom. He gets into his room and finds supplies so he can isolate himself in his room. He gets a call from his granddad and cuts him short as he sees the time. Meanwhile, Becky and the others take the curse as a joke and continue their lives. Becky is on a date with her boyfriend, and Seth cleans his mugs. Casper talks to his mom, and she accuses him of taking drugs. The time reaches 10 o'clock. Casper makes eye contact with his mom, but nothing happens. He assumes the curse is fake, and his mom leaves the room. Becky's boyfriend tells her how much he loves her, and they kiss. After kissing her, he tells her goodbye and jumps off the balcony. Becky realizes the curse is real, and she rushes downstairs. She sees that her boyfriend's body isn't on the ground, and she runs away. At the school, Dazzle plays football and makes eye contact with some of his teammates. They begin eliminating themselves and the people around them, and Dazzle remembers the curse. Casper is in his room, and the power suddenly goes out. He walks to his mom's room and sees her in the bathtub with a toaster. She then wakes up as a Zeman, and Casper tries pushing her away with a toilet brush, but she gets impaled by it and continues to chase him. He runs outside, and as he crosses the road, she gets hit by a car and eliminated. The drivers step out of the car, and Casper makes eye contact. He then sees they're about to eliminate themselves, and he runs away. Becky meets Casper as she runs away and tells him about the curse. They realize that the others are in the school and rush back to see what's going on. They arrive at the school and see that all the spectators and players are dead on the floor. Dazzle, Charlotte, Lucy, and Patrick are the only ones standing on the field, and as they make their way off, the dead people wake up as Zemans and chase them to Seth's place. The group enters the home, and they apologize to Casper for not believing him. They remember the terms they made for the curse, and Seth runs in. He informs them that he made eye contact with several people while delivering a package. One of the people he made eye contact with appears in the home and startles them. Becky eliminates it with her crossbow, and the group arms themselves. Meanwhile, Horace arrives at the occult barn and sees the urn broken. The group runs into Seth's van and fights off the Zemans approaching them. Becky drives the van, and they go to the occult barn. As they enter, they see Horace and inform him about the curse. He shows them a book about the curse, and writing appears in it. Horace then walks to his trophy and stabs himself with it. As he loses his life, he informs Casper to dig and then passes on. They lock him in a coffin to prevent him from attacking them when he transforms into a Zeman. The group reads the book, and it instructs that they can lift the curse by restoring the urn. It tells them to get some items, including a human skull and Horace's dad's timepiece. Dazzle informs the others that there's a human skull in their school, so they decide to get it. They arm themselves with weapons and run to the van. As they drive away, Patrick makes Becky stop the van and asks Charlotte to join him and abandon the others. Charlotte refuses, and Patrick storms out of the van while insulting the others. As he stands in front of the van and insults Charlotte, he gets attacked by the Zemans. They continue driving and get attacked by the people who hit Casper's mom. Casper then throws a grenade into their car and eliminates them. The van runs out of gas, and they push it to the nearest gas station. Casper and Charlotte enter the mini-mart and avoid eye contact with the attendant as Seth fills the car with gas. The shop attendant takes off Charlotte's glasses and sees Seth messing with some of the items. He runs outside, and Casper pushes him to the floor as they run into the van. As they drive, they watch the attendant set himself on fire, and the gas station explodes. The group arrives at the school, and they make a plan. Casper gets annoyed and blames the others for their situation, and they get upset and leave him alone in the van. They all enter the school and split up to find the needed items. Charlotte talks to Becky and asks about Casper. She informs Charlotte about the tragic events that have happened to Casper, and about how he feels terrible. Lucy watches Seth cut open a frog and retrieves its heart. They begin to bond and get attacked by a Zeman. Lucy decides to give the Zeman a French kiss, making it obey all of her commands. Meanwhile, Duffy meets Casper in the van, and Casper tries to avoid eye contact. Duffy annoys Casper and Casper looks at him. Duffy rushes to eliminate himself and inhales the fumes from the van's exhaust. Casper gets back into the van and sees Duffy revived as a Zeman. He then runs over Duffy, and the others see as he removes Duffy's parts from the tire. Casper apologizes for being rude, and as Charlotte cleans him up, Dazzle runs to them with some Zemans pursuing him. They get into the van and drive away. Casper sees Dazzle holding his groin and asks if he got hit there. Dazzle sits on a mattress while Casper realizes they'll have to dig up his great-granddad's grave to retrieve his timepiece. They then see Dazzle try to jump out the window, but they stop him. Dazzle informs them of how he retrieved the skull from some Zeman football players. As he ran, he was tempted by a Zeman cheerleader who eventually bit him on his groin and infected him. He tries to strangle himself, but they stop him and drive to the cemetery. The group sees that they have all the items except the timepiece, and they arrive at the cemetery. Becky and Seth open the grave, and Dazzle steps out of the van. He breaks the new urn on Lucy's head and runs to an axe, but Casper knocks him out. They eventually retrieve the timepiece, but Becky's boyfriend approaches them. Lucy tries to temptate him, but he bites her neck and pushes her away. He gives Becky his mug with some flowers, and she gets him to leave. Seth checks on Lucy and she eventually transforms into a Zeman. Seth then gives her a French kiss, and she begins to obey him. They wonder where Dazzle is and find him with some bees. Casper reminds him that he's allergic to bees, and Dazzle lets them sting him, so he is now eliminated. The others decide to bury Dazzle, so he doesn't attack them. The group gets into the van and recreates the urn, but the curse doesn't get reversed. New writing appears in the book and instructs them to sacrifice one of the cursed people to break the curse. Casper sees that they're running out of time and decides to sacrifice himself. He steps out of the van, and the others try to stop him, but he refuses. Becky hugs him and gives Charlotte a drawing he made of her. She then kisses him, and he asks her to take care of herself. He also collects the crossbow from Becky and tries to eliminate himself. As Casper is about to eliminate himself, Patrick attacks him, and the arrow hits Becky. Charlotte eventually eliminates Patrick with a rolling pin, and Dazzle attacks Casper. More Zemans approach them, and Casper sees that the sun is about to rise. Dazzle holds Casper down, and Charlotte throws a grenade at him. Casper decides to activate the grenade, but instead of exploding, Time reverses, and Casper wakes up in the occult barn. Casper wakes up with the rest of his friends, and they inform him that he saved them. They all have memories of the event, and Patrick walks out. Casper and his friends graduated, and Duffy wishes Casper good luck. Charlotte and Casper get on his bike and ride away as Patrick flirts with other girls. Charlotte and Casper go to the occult barn and ask Horace for a job. He lets them watch the shop and immediately goes on vacation. As he leaves, he reminds Casper of the rules and rushes out of the building. Casper and Charlotte begin to kiss, and they hit the shelf. The urn falls off and breaks, and they realize they're in trouble.